We begin with the breaking news today, that shooting at Fort Hood in Texas. It is the largest Army base in the nation, north of Austin, the site of that other deadly shooting nearly 5 years ago. And this was the urgent message sent out to those on base. 41,000 people told to shelter in place. And this is what they heard over the speakers. Listen.
Seek shelter immediately.
The president has now spoken out tonight, saying he is heartbroken, and we'll bring that to you in a moment. But let's go straight to ABC's Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, for the latest details on the shooter and the casualties. Pierre.
Diane, multiple law enforcement sources tell us the shooter is dead. Authorities are in the process of clearing the base of any other potential threats, but it's believed that there was only one shooter. That shooter is thought to be a soldier. We're told about a dozen people have been injured, and sources tell us that 4 people, including the shooter, are dead. The shootings took place in a workplace facility. President Obama has been monitoring the situation and just made this statement.
I want to just assure all of us that we are going to get to the bottom of exactly what happened. Any shooting is troubling. Obviously, this reopens the pain of what happened at Fort Hood 5 years ago. We know these families. We know their incredible service to our country and the sacrifices that they make. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with the entire community, and we are going to do everything we can to make sure that the community at Fort Hood has what it needs to deal with the current situation, but also any potential aftermath. We're heartbroken that something like this might have happened again.
In addition to the military personnel at the scene, the FBI is also responding, as well as other federal agencies. They're now going through the base to try to secure the scene and take care of anyone who might have been hurt. This comes roughly 5 years after Army Major Nidal Hasan opened fire at Fort Hood, killing 13 people and wounding 32 others. It was the worst mass murder at a military installation in U.S. history. Major Hasan was sentenced to death last August. Diane, so sad that this tragedy has once again come to that base.
And as we know, he was a psychiatrist on base there. But Pierre, let me just check again. As far as we know, one shooter?
One shooter. They're double checking to make sure that there was no one else, but they believe one shooter, and we are told that shooter is dead, Diane.
All right, Pierre, standing watch for us tonight on the story. And moments ago, I had a chance to speak with someone who was there on the ground when the shots rang out. Sergeant Major Nicholas Connor, the press information officer at Fort Hood.
Right now, Diane, I can tell you that here at Fort Hood, we can confirm that there was a shooting. Unfortunately, this is something that we here at Fort Hood have experience with, and we're just hoping that we can get to the bottom of this as soon as possible.
And I'm trying to imagine what it is for all of you who have been through this before, and we hear it in the sighs as you're talking about this. What was it like when you got that tweet, when you heard that alarm going out?
I can tell you that back in 2009, I was actually just finishing up a deployment in Iraq with the 1st Cavalry Division, and so this is what we were just on the cusp of redeploying when we got the news in Baghdad, and so our redeployment joy was tempered by just the air of tragedy that was here on Fort Hood, and again, this is something that unfortunately we have gone through before. But I know the resiliency of the soldiers and the family members here at Fort Hood are going to carry us through again.
And the nation sending its thoughts tonight. Our thanks to Sergeant Major Nicholas Connor. Our thoughts, as we said, with everyone there. But I do want to turn now to ABC's Chief Global Affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, because, Martha, you have been to Fort Hood so many times.
I have been there so many times, Diane, and I know people think it's a military post, but what this really is a community of 40,000. The families live there, the soldiers live there. They have been through so much together, so many deployments, 1st Cavalry Division, 4th Infantry Division. They have all lived through so much. In fact, Diane, I am supposed to be there this weekend for a reunion of a band of brothers who fought a battle 10 years ago in Iraq, coming together for a memorial service for the soldiers they lost. This will certainly be on their minds this weekend. weekend as well. So this community is mourning tonight another tragedy.
And of course, examining security as well.
They are indeed, Diane. You can get on the base sometimes quite easily, but other times they ask for ID. That will be looked into. But if it's a fellow soldier, all the more tragic.
All right, Martha Reddit's reporting in Washington, and she will be following the story throughout the night. We'll tell you more as we learn it on abcnews.com.